Hello. Could you introduce yourself, please?
I can indeed. Freddie Middleton. I'm an independent PR and publicity person. You probably know by my accent, I'm from Dublin. I worked in the music business in Dublin for over 30 years.
How did you get involved in the music industry?
Well, first job after school was VHI, much like Bupa in England. They had no social life, so I created a nightclub in the basement. And somebody had to play the records, and that's how I started. So obviously from the social club we needed music and all the equipment that goes with a nightclub. So I got everything, got to know how to do those type of things and play records. And then I got frustrated that some records you couldn't get weren't available in Dublin. So I asked in the record shops, could I get a Saturday job? So I had my 9 to 5 in the VHI, a few nights socialising for the staff, and then a record shop on a Saturday. So then I was able to persuade the shop to order stuff for DJs. So we were getting a reputation then of having all the latest hits on time. Through that I was meeting salesmen calling in to see how their songs were selling. And I asked one of them for, let me know if there's any jobs going, and that was EMI. So I started at EMI, and then first role in there was going out to radio stations in Dublin with new releases. So it was getting airplay. The job was called a plugger. So I graduated from that into marketing and learned how to advertise, promote and sell, really. And in 1984, I had a call from RCA to ask would I become general manager there, which was a step up. And also RCA was merging or being taken over by a company called BMG, Bertelsmann Music Group, and eventually went from general manager of RCA to managing director of BMG.
You achieved some very senior positions in the music industry and music PR. Could you tell us about them?
Well, the main one was managing director of BMG. So with a big staff, huge budget, big targets. It was a great role, but it was a tough one as well. We had to deliver every year on year, business plans, profit and loss accounts, hit records, million-selling albums. So while it is a great industry to work in, it is a business, and that's the one thing people should remember. You're running a business. Bands need to realise it's a business, it's a profit and loss account, really. After 20 years there, they were taken over by Sony. I joined Universal after 6 months and became marketing director there of a much bigger label, much bigger company, and met some of the old stars moving labels as well.
That's where somebody with your business and marketing expertise comes in.
Comes in now as in my new role, which is in independent PR. So I will advise bands on the music to make or on the presentation or the package, and then I will carry on with my experience at radio, press and publicity.
Could you give us a list of some of the personalities, the celebrities, the bands that you've met and worked with over the years?
Hundreds and thousands probably, but big time like Eurythmics, Take That, Whitney Houston, Westlife. We launched in Dublin for London. Chris Rea, just endless, and in a lot of artists like Van Morrison, Paul Brady, Krista Berg would be of an Irish extraction, but obviously them as well are very important to the Irish scene. And in the latter days at Universal, I was involved in the Atomic Bomb album from U2. I didn't mention Queen, but it was one of the best times. And Freddie Mercury was an incredible singer. The band were fantastic with audiences, and they were the best tours we were on.
What's your opinion of the music industry internationally?
It has changed a lot. Everybody's downloading, everybody's listening on PCs and all sorts of devices, which to me doesn't give the quality that we had in those days. Okay, the CD came along in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. It was a clinical sound, but it was a good sound. And now I'm watching people listening on phones with very squeaky headphones and whatever, and it just kills it for me. And also, in those early days, you built your career. You entered the charts at a certain position, went up the charts week by week by week to get to number one, top of the pops and whatever. Now you go in because of your iTunes sales and then you drop out the week later. So it's not longevity as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think bands are encouraged to produce albums these days, or is it just the best singles?
Well, it's nearly okay. They make an album of 10, 12, 14 tracks, but the idea is to take 3 or 4 singles from the album and release them digitally. So, to me, it's like a promo single rather than an album's worth of material. So, it's the times that are in it, but to me, it's not as good, and not the quality is less for the listening public.
Yeah. So you're currently based in Kent. Why did you want to come here?
Well, after all the record company business and my own independent PR company, I found there was a lot of gaps between album releases from my clients. We knew about Deal from regular visits in Kent, and decided to have a life by the sea.
Now you've had a chance to study it, what's your opinion of the music scene in East Kent?
Yes, I have caught up with the music scene in Kent, East Kent. I've been out and about in Deal, Dover, Walmer, watching bands, and I could name Gentlemen a Few as one in particular who are outstanding as far as I'm concerned. It's good to see young bands with original material, and that's what I would like to encourage them. Stick with it, write your own material, and bring it to as best standard as you can. Yes, there are venues like the Lighthouse now, really packing them in for good music, and I think it has even improved in the last 12 months.
So I know you're very highly regarded, Freddie, for your public relations work for many local bands and the Astor Theatre. What's your focus in Kent at the moment?
Well, I am doing publicity for music shows coming to the Astor Theatre in Deal. I'm working for the Deal Music Festival, so music is the focus. I do want to attract young bands with product to move in one direction or another, to help and advise and consult with them and get the package ready for record labels in London to listen to.
Do you have one tip for aspiring musicians and bands?
Well, it's like the old going into the charts and going in and climbing up. I would say be nice to everybody on the way up, because you'll meet them on the way down.
Now, I know you're passionate about music, including vinyl. Can you tell us what it is about it that you like?
When records started, it was plastic and it was vinyl, and it was 7-inch singles and 12-inch albums. And the truth is, listening to a 12-inch album on vinyl is incredibly atmospheric, and you hear what the band wanted you to hear. When CD came, it was a lovely compact disc, literally, but it wasn't. It was very clinical, and you missed that sound that the needle does when it hits the groove.
You're a great collector of music, and also you've got a good vinyl collection as well. What type of items are you proudest of?
I have a Sgt. Pepper picture disc on vinyl, Beatles, and I have Dark Side of the Moon, which sounds amazing on vinyl. And I have the full Beatles albums collection on vinyl, unplayed, and they release 13 albums year after year. And I don't think we'd see bands doing that type of thing today. So it's a real souvenir.
So in 2014, you've created a new series of record fairs. Can you explain them and what your plans are for them?
Well, the idea was that when I came to Deal, there was no record shop. And I saw that in East Kent there are a lot of festivals, a lot of fairs, a lot of boot fairs, markets. And I said, why not have one in Deal? And booked the Astor Theatre for 3 Sundays in 2014. And the idea is that record shop people and record dealers arrive with their collections, set up tables and sell vinyl, CDs, DVDs, memorabilia, and they fill the auditorium with stock. And we might have 25 tables, literally, with the biggest selection Deal has ever seen. Well, we had our first at the end of March, and it was very successful. So we have another one on 27th of July, and then on the last Sunday in September. And we're just going to repeat the formula we had on March 30th, which also is free in for the public. There's a cafe bar open, so they can have snacks, and it's a day by the seaside as well. There are fairs in Orpington and places like that, and the same dealers travel to all of them, and they are extremely professional. We encourage other people with collections to come in and get them priced if they want to.
Your professional career in public relations has undoubtedly contributed to the success of the record fairs in 2014. Do you offer this kind of publicity service to other businesses as well?
I found now with the success of the record fair, and not particularly fairs and markets, but businesses in general. My background is in music business, and I believe that in any business you can create a marketing plan, a promotional plan, a publicity campaign, and of it, inevitably a sales plan. And while music is not regarded as a product, it's not a nice word, but any product can be sold with the proper planning.